What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having a great day. I know I am, and if you are, I'd appreciate you pressing that like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. I will be forced to challenge you to a 1v1 combat competition where the only weapons we're allowed to use are pool noodles. Yeah, that's right, it's family friendly and deadly. What a sweet combination. Real talk though, guys, hope you're having a great day today. I've got another long story for you guys. I've really been on my grind. I know quarantine is probably super boring, so I figured I would do my best to provide the best content possible. I don't know if it's actually the best, but it's definitely the longest. I'll give myself that. And yeah, it should be a pretty fun video, so without further ado, let's get into it. But press the like button like I said. So in order to set the premise for this story of, this is definitely not as deep as you think, I have to let you guys know how I got forced to go to a poetry competition with a bunch of kids that genuinely thought they were werewolves. Yeah, that's right, you heard it correctly. In my sophomore year of high school, I started to learn the joys of skipping class. Now, this is something I really regret, okay? I barely graduated high school because I skipped way too much, so don't do what I did. But I had this English teacher that ran this poetry competition team thing. And she really liked me to the point where she would let me hang out in her room and stuff in the morning. And one morning she went to do something, and while she was gone, I took half a stack of hall passes that she had already pre-signed to make it easier to fill out during class and threw them in my backpack. And basically, in the way our school worked, each type of teacher had hall passes for a certain class. So English teachers had yellow hall passes. So it was pretty obvious that I had taken them from an English teacher if I were to get caught. And for most of the year, I don't get caught at all. You know, I use these hall passes pretty sparingly to get out of going to class, skipping school, all that stuff. And I'm not gonna lie, having a bunch of passes that are pre-signed made it super easy. I could even go to other classes and get my friends out. And like I said, you shouldn't do this, but it's what I did. And one day I'm in the hallway, where my English teacher is, and I'm walking to go get one of my friends, and she looks at me and she's like, "What are you doing out of class?" And she looks at my hand and she sees that the note is yellow, which means I got it from an English teacher. And she says, "Let me see the note." And I'm like, I don't know. And she takes the note and she's like, "Where did you get this?" So at this point, I come clean to her because I know she likes me. And she basically says, I should take you to the dean's office right now. How long have you been doing this? So I come clean about everything to her. And I basically tell her, "Look, I've been doing it for most of the school year without you knowing. It's helped me get a ton of my friends out of classes. I've probably used about 100 of them at this point, and maybe you should stop pre-signing all your notes because it makes it way too convenient to take them all." And she is sitting there flabbergasted because she had this image of me as a good kid because I wasn't super loud in class, for the most part I wasn't. So people just didn't expect me to do stuff like this, which made it way easier to get away with. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna complain out here and say that I wanted it to be harder to get away with stuff. Also, we're about 3 minutes in, so I'm going to do a shameless plug. Quarantine has me bored, and I've always wanted to do a YouTube news channel, so I've been posting news videos over on this channel that's on screen right now. It's going to be the pinned comment, and I'll put a link in the top of the description, so you guys should go sub to it, because, yeah, no, getting another silver play button would be pretty cool. Anyways, my English teacher catches me red-handed, and before anybody down below is like, "Oh, you should have lied," look, she caught me red-handed, and she had signed the paper. It was her signature. There really wasn't anything that I could lie about. That would have gotten me out of this situation. Look, I was just straight up taking an L here. There really isn't much I could have done. So I'm kind of like, "Look, there's the truth." And she says, "I won't tell, but you have to come and help with my poetry thing. We're going to some slam reading, whatever." She was in charge of some poetry thing. And the reason she wanted to do this is kind of nerdy, but I've always been pretty good at debate. I was a state champion in debate, as cringy as that is. So my public speaking skills are kind of A1. That's how I can make 40 minutes of YouTube content daily and no complaints at all. I really do love my job. It's what I love to do. So she kind of was using me and being like, "Yo, listen, I know you're good at talking, so you're going to come help me do this poetry competition thing." So I don't really have a choice because my options are getting suspended for sure and my parents finding out that I've been skipping school basically every day to do nothing, or going to read poetry. And I'm not a poetry guy, all right? I'm really not. I've never really been one to sit there and vibe to some Edgar Allan Poe. Not that I think many people have. The Raven is not what's bumping on the aux cord. That's all I'm trying to say. No problem if you do. Good for you. You're just way smarter than me. So I had to go to like one practice thing before, and I guess I was allowed to read other people's poetry, which I really don't get. And I was kind of like, look, I'm not going to do the research to pick a poem. You just give me something, you know? So whatever. I show up to this practice thing at my English teacher's house, and it's super weird to go to a teacher's house because you just kind of low-key realize that they live a life outside of teaching. I know that's super obvious, all right? Like, obviously teachers do more than teach, but going to a teacher's house for whatever reason when you're a kid is just super weird because it's, you're my teacher, man. It's weird to think that you have an Xbox. I don't know why. I picture you as somebody that's only an English teacher. So, we're in her house, and her husband is like wearing a football jersey, watching the game. It's super normal, which makes it even weirder that he's like a normal dude. This is probably making no sense, but it's making sense to me. So hopefully at least 3 people understand what I'm talking about. And as more kids show up, I realize that it's going to be a problem. So I've told stories about these kids on my channel before, but there was really a group of kids in my high school that thought they were werewolves. Like, the bad guys of Twilight, they really would howl at the moon and stuff. They thought they were werewolves, which it shouldn't surprise me that they were the type of kids that were vibing in a poetry club, but for whatever reason, just seeing them show up was not very good. And it didn't help that I had beef with them before. Like, I had been in arguments and beefed with a lot of them. So they didn't like me a ton. And I don't really know if my English teacher knew this, but, like, she can obviously sense tension. And she basically says, well, whatever's happened before, poetry is bigger than beef, which, like, is just not a true statement. Also, the fact that she said beef makes it even better, but I don't think poetry is bigger than most things. I'm not trying to disrespect it at all, but I'm just saying, like, personally, I might take beef over poetry. Like, if somebody Luke Skywalkered my mom and, like, cut off her hand or whatever, I might have to do what I have to do to get revenge. It might not be time for me to just chill and vibe with this dude. Oh, yeah, you cut off my mom's hand? Well, you know what they say, who needs revenge when you can sing poetry? What's up, man? I'm gonna sing a poem. It's basically a song. Why is poetry so much cringier than just singing? It's kind of weird. Sorry, I'm spitting facts out here, but, I basically get handed this poem that's about something about, like, spring days or whatever, and she says, read it with some emotion, so I do it. She's like, all right, good enough. You're better than the other person we were gonna have read it. Whatever. And then I guess that was my position, was to read something that somebody had already written, which is great because I was not going to write any poetry. I really wasn't. I'm not Eminem out here. I'm not going to be a poet. I'm not a wordsmith by any means. That's why it takes me 25 minutes to tell a story. So I have to stay for this entire practice, and the werewolf kids, like, are snarling their teeth at me, and that's not an exaggeration. That's not me trying to be a poet. I mean, when I'm reading this poem, they are literally snarling their teeth at me to, like, show dominance or aggression or whatever. And trust me, dude, I'm not competing to be in charge of the poetry club. I have no desire to be here any more than you do. If I didn't get caught skipping class, I would not be here. I have no desire to be vibing with the werewolf kids. So the werewolf kids are, like, snarling their teeth at me, and then they get up and start reading poetry. And keep in mind, we're what, 14, 15, 16, a mixture of those ages. So it's, close enough where, like, I can cringe at them and say it's dumb. And their poetry was obviously written by them, and it is the most stupid I'm 14 and this is deep type stuff that I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, honestly, they should be embarrassed that it even crossed their mind to write half of what came out of their mouths. In terms of cringe, I can't remember what they said exactly, but it was about as cringe as this poem I'm about to read. Friends unite to join the fight. Land in tilted towers we might. Staying up all day and night, never leaving to see the light. Building to the highest height, fire coming in from left to right. If your health is growing finite, a cozy campfire you must ignite. Soccer skin or black night, all must fight as the storm grows tight. For those who know there's no better delight than the sweet satisfaction of winning Fortnite, but with real emotion, you know, like tears streaming down their cheek, and also about, you know, how hard it is to grow up in like a middle class suburb. Yeah, it's so hard that my mom and dad love me. They wake me up before noon. Little do they know that I'm a vampire and I'm afraid of the moon. Type beat, you know, like that's really what they were talking about. And one of them that I had the most amount of beef with prior, that I'd like actually argued with and almost fought with a couple times, gets up to read a poem, and I'm trying to stay calm, like I'm trying not to laugh, but it's really hard when people are snarling at you while reading poetry about their Fortnite dubs. Fortnite didn't exist back then, but you get the idea, like talking about stuff that just nobody cares about. Anyways, the kid who likes me the least gets up and he starts his poem, and it's something along the lines of, when the moon comes out at night, I talk to you, my only sprite. If my sadness is the creep, the wolf inside me begins to beat. Like, you know, talking about how he's literally a werewolf and the full moon makes him be violent, and so people should stay away from him on those days because he's such an edgelord when the moon is full. Watch out, guys. Definitely a werewolf. Those are 100% real. So whatever, Cringe Guy is there, and then, I'm not even kidding, he starts howling as a part of his poem, like, oh, like, literally howling in the middle of my English teacher's living room, and she's acting like she's enjoying it, she's getting all into it, and I'm trying not to laugh, and when he finishes, all the other werewolf kids start snapping, and I can't hold back anymore, so I start to laugh. Are you kidding me? This kid is talking about how he's a werewolf and howling at the fact that there's not, like, he's howling at nothing. He's just howling in the middle of a living room. And you expect me not to laugh? Like, how am I not supposed to think that that's low-key hilarious? There's nothing I can do except think that's funny. And I guess laughing at poetry is a big no-no, because immediately everybody like turns and looks at me, and my English teacher, you know, is like, that is not what we do around here. And I'm like, look, I'm sorry, it's just funny, he's howling. And she's like, his howling is an artistic expression of his true inner self, and, you know, how dare you think it's funny? How would you feel if somebody laughed while you were reading your poetry? And, my smart Alex self replied with what probably was not the best reply, but I said, I don't know, I think it would be pretty okay if I was howling like a wolf, like, which honestly is my opinion. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna feel bad. This kid is howling like a weirdo. You're not a werewolf, Jeremy, okay? Listen, we were like in Little League Soccer together. Trust me, you're not a werewolf. You have, you know, asthma, and if you tried to chase anything, it would not work out very well. So stop writing your poetry as if you're a werewolf, because we all know that you're a fraud. Now go home and eat your mom's snickerdoodles. Like, it's just ridiculous for me not to laugh when people are being ridiculous. What do you expect me to do when I'm watching this dude with a beard growl like a werewolf? Oh my gosh, that shot was nasty. So my English teacher basically says that if I can't not laugh, then our deal is off and she's gonna report me. And I'm like, look, okay, I can try to hold it together. So the kid is obviously mad at me. He's snarling and he's like, I want an apology. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to apologize for laughing at something that I think is funny. Like, I can't help it. If you make me laugh, you make me laugh. What am I supposed to do? I don't think I can shove my fist in my mouth. Actually, I can fit my fist in my mouth. If you Google me, there's a very, very weird photo of me with my fist in my mouth from a video one time. Not my finest moment. You could also probably find it on my Instagram @Scrubby, hashtag never apologize for plugging yourself. So regardless, another kid gets up to read it and I'm like, look, okay, if I cannot laugh through this one, we're fine. So the kid starts reading his poetry and he refers to himself as a sad little tangerine. A sad little tangerine that's been bruised by life. And as you can tell, I can't even say it now without laughing a little bit. So obviously he says that and I start laughing, but when I laugh, my English teacher laughs. Like, even she is laughing at this kid calling himself a sad little tangerine of life, because it's a very weird thing to call yourself. So now every werewolf is even madder at me because I've laughed at two of them now, and I even got the English teacher to laugh. I'm sorry, but like, this guy was, you know, feeling sad, he was feeling blue, and decided, man, you know what I should refer to myself as to show everybody how deep my feelings are about the current state of mind that I'm currently feeling? I know, I will refer to myself as a sad piece of exotic fruit that low-key has a tangy but sweet flavor called a tangerine. That will get everybody on my side. Like, calling yourself a sad tangerine is just weird. You're bursting with flavor, man. Everything knows that things that are bursting with flavor aren't depressed. Like, mozzarella sticks just aren't depressed. Fruit gushers, definitely not depressed. That's just a happy food. And if not, they're going to, Dr. Colonel Sanders for their therapy. I would watch a TV show based around if foods had personality and gushers were like over-the-top coke addicts. I'm just saying, Adult Swim, if you're interested in that show, be sure to drop me a business email. So my English teacher basically is like, all right, all these werewolf kids are about to attack you. So she ends their practice thing early and everybody leaves and I'm still sitting there. And she basically says, look, I don't want to get you in trouble. What you did stealing the passes is wrong, but you can't hold it together. You laugh every time somebody says something a little bit funny and that's just not going to work at this competition. So I won't tell, okay? I won't tell anyone, but you have to promise not to make fun of them for their poetry anymore, all right? You don't mention it to anybody. And I basically said, yeah, that's a fat bet. 100% you've got yourself a deal. Shook her hand and immediately bounced out with that fofo and got to ditch school for no reason. Honestly, my teacher was super chill. She could have been crazy and been like, now I'm gonna report you. But thank God she understood that these kids were just cringe and the fact that they thought they were werewolves really, really did not help their case. But, yeah, moral of the story is teenage kids, for whatever reason, will definitely write cringe poetry if given a chance. I don't really know what it is about them, but it's like they're addicted to making themselves look like edgelords that have no control over everything. How could anything be real if our eyes aren't real tight beat? And, if you are somebody that writes poetry to, help you vent and stuff, that's fine. Just maybe don't read it publicly and howl and pretend you're a werewolf in it, because that's low-key kind of weird. If you're doing that, honestly, there is no defense. It's just kind of bizarre. Regardless, guys, if you could do me a favor and press the like button, it really does help out the channel. And if you don't, then your eyes will become a lilac haze where nothing is pure but sadness, and sadness is the only thing that is pure within itself. I'll start writing sad poetries and putting it at the end of my videos, and you guys don't want that because I can act pretty dang cringe. Also, while we're at it, scope out the merch. Head on over to gfuel.com, use code Scrubby at checkout, and yeah, today's notification shout out goes to Graham. Big thank you for having on notifications. You told me to just call you Graham, so hopefully that's clear. You didn't want me to use your ad for some reason. But, yeah, thank you for turning on notifications. Turn them on if you don't already. Be sure to not get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure that they're pretty damn attractive, aka hot. And, yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video where I will make fun of more people. And I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.